So let us continue our discussion on risk assessment and what are the processes of risk assessment. So risk assessment is a systematic process that involves identifying, analyzing, and evaluating potential risk within a workplace to determine the best course of action for prevention and mitigation. It is a crucial component of effective occupational health and safety management. So we have here the several key steps of risk assessment: identifying hazards, assessing risks, implementing controls, monitoring and review, documentation and communication, reviewing and updating. So ano ba itong identification of hazards? So basically, it involves recognizing potential sources of harm or danger within the workplace. So ano ba ang ginagawa dito? Mag-conduct ka ng inspection, mag-gather ka ng information sa mga employees mo, and reviewin mo kung ano ba yung mga reports na meron doon sa lugar. So that's identification of hazards or identifying hazards. Next one is assessment. No? Assessing risk involves evaluating, no, or evaluation of the likelihood and severity of potential harm resulting from identified hazards. So dito naman, i-assess mo, no? I-determine mo kung ano yung probability ng occurrence, kung kailan ba ito pwedeng mangyari, no? Assessing the potential consequences or impact of the identified hazards, assigning risk levels based on the combination of likelihood and severity. So pagka inassess mo yung lugar, itatantyahin mo or aalamin mo, i-measure mo kung tingin mo, ilang percent ba na pwedeng magkaroon ng problema dito o ng hazard, and gaano ba kadalas. So that's assessment. No? So that's the evaluation of the likelihood and severity of your identified hazards. The next one is implementing controls. No? Implementing controls naman, no? It involves developing and applying measures to eliminate or minimize the risk identified during, no, the assessment phase. Dito, ang gagawin mo, you will be selecting appropriate control measures for each identified hazards. Then prioritize controls based on their effectiveness and feasibility, and implement controls and monitoring their effectiveness. So that's how you implement controls. No, you have to develop and apply measures to what? For what purpose? To eliminate or minimize the risk identified. Okay, that's implementing controls. No, next one is monitoring and review. Ito naman, no, it involves regular evaluation, no, or regularly evaluating the effectiveness of implemented controls and making adjustments as necessary. So you have to conduct a monitoring and review. No, i-schedule mo yan, and you must also solicit feedback from the employees if effective ba yung in-implement mong controls. No? Same time, you have to update the risk assessment based on the changes in the workplace. So that's monitoring and review. So you have to involve regular evaluation, and the evaluate the effectiveness of the implemented controls. Okay. Next one is documentation and communication. When we say documentation and communication, it involves the recording of the findings of the risk assessment and ensuring that relevant information is communicated to all concerned or to all stakeholders. So dito sa documentation naman, you will be identifying the hazards. No? You have to assess the risk and document the control measures. Communicating risk assessment results to employees, uh, and then management, ensuring that relevant information is easily accessible to all relevant parties. So itong documentation and communication naman is after you gather those potential hazards, no, and you have been able to apply controls and review, you have to document those concerns and communicate them all to all your stakeholders para alam nila, no? Para aware sila kung ano ba yung mga hazards na yon. At the same time, ano yung mga in-implement mong mga controls. That's documentation and communication. Last one is reviewing and updating. So dito, no, you have to review and update those involved periodically. Para nang sa ganon, no, that revisiting the risk assessment to account for changes in the workplace, environment, process, or regulations. No? The establishment of a schedule for regular reviews must be alam dapat nila, no? Para nang sa ganon, yung pagbabago man sa workplace dahil sa inimplement mong controls, alam nila. You have to keep them updated. Parang sa ganon, ma-maintain yung workplace safety. So those are the steps of risk assessment: identifying hazards, assessment or assessing risks, implementing controls, monitoring and review, documentation and communication, reviewing and updating. Next one is benefits. Ano ba ang benefits ng identification ng hazards? Enhanced safety culture, accident and injury protection, legal compliance, efficient resource allocation, improved productivity, cost reduction, operational continuity, enhanced decision making. No? So again, it's like the importance of the of identifying hazards. Na dito lang yan. Prevention of accidents. Importance and benefits are somehow the same. Okay. What are the tips for effective risk assessment? Involve employees. Bakit? No? Encourage them to actively participate. No? Magbigay sila ng feedback when it comes to the task being assessed. No? So, dapat involve sila palagi para nang sa ganon, meron ka ring idea kung ano ba yung na-experience nila sa ground. Number one is utilize a multidisciplinary approach. Ito naman, kailangan mo ng diverse team. Kaya multidisciplinary, no? You have to have diverse team with expertise in different areas. Combining these skills in health and safety, mas mapapadali yung iyong trabaho, no? So hindi ka dapat nag-iisa lang. You must have a team for that. A diverse team with expertise in different areas. Next one is consider all hazards. No? Alam naman natin lahat ng common hazards, no? Consider natin lahat 'yon. Para nang sa ganon, maging thorough ang ating understanding sa lahat ng potential risk na meron sa ating workplace. Hindi yung pwedeng mag-focus ka lang sa ergonomics since you are a computer engineer. No? You have to consider everything, every hazards that's in place. Okay? Next one is prioritize risk. If you have identified the risks or the hazards, di ba parang yan lang din yung assessment. Magbe-base yung prioritization mo sa severity and likelihood ng occurrence. Okay? So that's prioritization of risk. Number 5 is use appropriate risk assessment tools. No? Select and utilize suitable risk assessment tools and methodologies for different types of hazards. The right tools facilitate structured and standardized approach, improving the accuracy and reliability of risk assessment. Dito sa mga risk assessment tools, didiscuss natin to later on sa mga next videos natin. And last one is regularly review and update. So, you have to schedule regular reviews of the risk assessment process and update it as needed. Kasi every time na may controls ka, every time na mayroon implementation, is nag-update ang iyong trabaho or yung workplace. So, dapat tuloy-tuloy lang ang inyong pag, pag-update. No? Next one is the continuation. Consider interconnected risks. Seek professional guidance. Promote open communication. Document findings clearly and consider long-term implications. So, paano ba itong consider interconnected risks? Make sure to analyze how different risks may interact and contribute to more complex hazards. No? So, you have to identify the continuity or interconnection of those hazards. Baka interconnected or interrelated tong mga hazards ito. Problema to, no? So make sure to have the understanding interconnected risk that allows you for a more holistic approach to the risk mitigation. Next one is seek professional guidance. Consult with occupational health and safety professionals or external experts when needed. No, with them, with those professionals, no, they can bring specialized knowledge, ensuring a more accurate and thorough risk assessment. Okay, so the next one is document findings clearly. So yung mga nakukuha mong data, lahat na document mo, dapat malinaw, dapat walang problema, no? Para nang sa ganun, ito yung magiging basis mo for informed decision making, communication, and future reviews. Okay? Promote open communication. Ano naman ito? Foster a culture of open communication where employees feel comfortable reporting hazards and suggesting improvements. So, dapat dito, open ka sa mga suggestions, hindi yung ikaw na lang ang magaling, ikaw na lang ang dapat pinakikinggan. Okay? You have to have this kind of talent or openness for suggestion, no? Kasi sila naman ang nasa baba, sila naman makaka-experience ng risk. That's why you have to communicate with them clearly and openly. Okay? Last one is consider the long-term implications. No? You have to assess the risk with consideration for potential long-term consequences, such as chronic health effects or environmental impacts. No? Addressing long-term implications ensures a more sustainable and resilient approach to risk management. So those are the tips for effective risk assessment. No? Consider interconnected risk, seek professional guidance, document findings clearly, promote open communication, and consider long term implications. Thank you very much. Let us continue on the next video next week.